Good afternoon. Can you all gather around and come to the front, please? We're about to get started. Mr. Lammy, can you join me?
Are you speaking? No, articles are like speaking. Somebody gave me that flyer.
Good afternoon and welcome to our celebration of National Caribbean American Heritage Month. Now, let's try that again. I need some more energy. Good afternoon and welcome to National Caribbean American Heritage Month. My name is Dion Irish. I'm Chief of Operations for Mayor Wu and for the City of Boston. A proud Antiguan, and I'm very happy to be here today. So I'm calling an audible on my welcome remarks, and I'm going to ask Mr. Ronald Lammy to join me. Mr. Lammy is a well-known figure in the Caribbean American community, and he is one of the people who are behind this actually being a month where we get to celebrate the rich diversity that Caribbean Americans provide to the City of Boston and to the United States of America. So Mr. Lammy, if you can give us a brief history, and then we're going to move on to the next agenda item.
Thank you very much. What a privilege, an honor. We have a saying, who would have imagined, or who would have thought in our vernacular? Let me just read quickly the history and the perspective we have. Celebrating our Caribbean heritage in America is an acknowledgement of its influence on our present condition. Its attributes can be discerned in the trajectory from the past. Our first arrival came through the commercial savagery of transporting enslaved Africans here. We can chart what we have accomplished, where we are now, what we are undertaking presently, and what is envisaged for the future. These elements are profoundly apparent as we mark Caribbean American Heritage Month. In June 2006, the United States Senate passed a resolution previously adopted by the House to declare June as National Caribbean American Heritage Month. In February 2007, months later, National Caribbean Heritage Month was launched in Springfield, Massachusetts, and today we mark its 17th anniversary. Our first theme was Many Voices with One Purpose, which is relevant as we are here representing all the world's people from the Caribbean: Indigenous, African, Asian, European, and Mid-Eastern ethnicities. We are present in a wide span of professions in many fields. They include academic, commercial, creative, entrepreneurial, legal, judicial, and medical, and the military sectors. Notably, these Massachusetts residents hold positions from entry level to executive rank. This has been our compelling history. Our cultural instincts foster excellence in and beyond the performing arts. Caribbean American community leaders can be multifaceted and do achieve impressive goals. There have been many exemplars who achieved admirable results by forging consensus for action. These leaders motivated individuals, as myself, to organize the National Caribbean American Month. Many have outstanding lifetime credentials. As an example, I have proud achievements in first-time initiatives in various sectors: banking, cultural presentations, electronics, and human wellness. All of us are there and beyond. We work to confirm and promote the contribution of Caribbean immigrants and their American-born descendants. We concentrate on demonstrating the depth and range of meaningful lifestyles we live. brothers and sisters are inspired to be innovative in all forms that come to mind. We consider and respond to constraints with thoughtful courage and pursue what could be pioneering feelings in the face of discouragement. We contribute to the well-being of the American society every day. We are residents who proudly live in the mainstream. National Caribbean American Heritage Month is to commemorate that involvement and its impact. We will stay on that path. We will fervently address increased and consistent intergenerational connections to transfer respectable cultural features and enable emotional well-being in all neighborhoods. We are proud Caribbean Americans and express those features in our vernacular as well. All we is one, and we live in Hay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lamy. Next, we ask everyone to rise for the national anthem of the United States of America.
Caps, and direct your attention to the area behind second base for the presentation. Is the Dunedin High School Naval JROTC Color Guard. Performing our national anthem tonight on steel drums are Shamel Proctor and Floyd Lewis of the group Mellow Vibes, brought to you by the Caribbean American National Development Organization. Presenting tonight's anthem in American Sign Language, Valerie Scafolio.
Thank you to Mr. Jammin Joe Johnson, our DJ today. Next, I'd like to introduce our fearless leader, a person who I'm very proud to work for and work with, the mayor of Boston, who's working hard every day to make this city home for everyone. That includes Caribbean American people. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce our mayor, Michelle Wu.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and big shout out to someone we know and call every day as our Chief of Operations, but fairly recently represented the city of Boston back in where his family's homeland was in Antigua, representing all of us, delivering a very important address as he was invited to appear before the nation, and we are so grateful for the many ways that he plays that cultural bridge for us as well. So good afternoon. I'm so honored to be up here with all of my colleagues and all of our community members. We know that Boston, to be a home for everyone, must reflect the cultures, the languages, the cuisines, the arts, the entrepreneurship, and the talent of each one of our communities as well. Whether you speak Patois or Portuguese or Spanish or Creole, whether you're from the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Cuba, Jamaica, or any one of the 700 islands and islets of the Caribbean, Boston is honored to be that place where everyone can come together, and we're so honored to be able to raise the flag today. Okay, I got to give a couple proud shout outs too of some of the Caribbean leaders who are representing Proud in our administration, our Chief of Equity and Inclusion and Proud Puerto Rican, Maria Angeli Solis Cervera. You heard a shout out to our Chief of Operations, Dion Irish, our Chief of Civic Engagement, Brianna Milor, our Chief of Communications, Jessica Pierre, our Haitian leaders in the House, and to our city councilors who represent a whole diversity of all of the Caribbean cultures. You'll hear from them shortly, but shout out to all of our electeds who are here, City Councilor Tanya Fernandes Anderson, City Council President Ruth C. Louis-Jean, Representative Sam Montano, City Councilor Brian Worrell, City Councilor Sharon Durkin, Councilor Ben Weber, Large Councilor Julia Mejia, and State Representative Chris Worrell. Thank you for all that you do. Oh, okay, and City Councilor Ed Flynn was here. So thank you for being here with love and pride representing all of our communities. It shines through in the work that we do every day in Boston and in the ways in which we are trying to fight for even more opportunity for the generations to come. I want to acknowledge just how much our Caribbean community has contributed to making Boston home for everyone. From faith, food and festivals, music and dance, art and entrepreneurship, our Caribbean residents have reminded us time and again that home is a place you make together. We have more than 2,500 Caribbean-owned businesses here in Boston, and we want to see that number grow. We want to strengthen the coalitions that exist in the city, create more connections, and share more of the vibrant culture that gives our city life and brings so much benefit to all of us. So to ensure that we continue to do that right, and to do right by more than 127,000 Caribbean residents who call Boston home, today I'm excited to announce that Alexandra Valdez, who hails from La Vega in the Dominican Republic, is our new Director of the Office of Cultural Affairs. Now, I want to thank members of our City Council in particular. You know, we have a partnership across the city and state, but the council really pushed to make sure that representation would be clearly designated and defined in the city. So thank you to Councilors Mejia, Worrell, and Fernandes Anderson for your leadership in sponsoring and advocating legislation to ensure that city government is reflective of and responsive to our Caribbean community, among others. Because of your leadership, after more than 20 years, we will be bringing back the role of Caribbean Cultural Advisor within the administration to ensure that we continue to celebrate, nurture, and advocate on behalf of community members. And I want to thank, most of all, our community members for helping us make Boston a better home for everyone. So before I turn it over to Alex, I just want to invite up my fellow colleagues in government to say a quick hello and share greetings as well. Why don't I start with City Council President, Madam President Ruth C. Louis-Jean.
Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here. I'm Ruth C. Louis-Jean, President of the Boston City Council, proud daughter of Haitian immigrants, and always love to be among my Caribbean massive. I see you there, Sam, with your Trini flag. Shout out to our assistant clerk, who also hails from Trinidad, Dasi. Thank you. We have so much representation here. I am so grateful for the Caribbean community, not only because that's what I know, that's what I grew up in, always, even when you talk about the richness of the Black community and about all we represent and where we come from, whether it's from down south or whether it's from the Caribbean or whether it's from Africa, that vibrancy adds to our city. The food, the roti, the patties, the ackee and saltfish, all of it adds to the richness. The Caribbean Festival, all of the events that we're having in June for Caribbean Heritage Month. So I just want to shout out to I see Daniel Johnson here, Spark FM. I see so many Caribbean leaders here, the Caribbean Authentic Foundation, who are doing the work of making sure that we are centering our communities, whether that be Jamaica, Trinidad, Bahamas, Barbados, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and I'm glad to have colleagues on the City Council who hail from the entire Caribbean. Everyone's going to come up and say hello. Want to give a special shout out, of course, to Brian Worrell, the Vice President of the Council, who just got us through budget. the work continues, but has did a really great job. Dominican members of the council, Councilor Mejia, Councilor Pepen, and Councilor Santana. And so thank you. May we joyously enjoy this month. May we enjoy Carnival in August. May we enjoy ourselves and also think about the policy work involved in making sure that representation not is just about seeing our faces in these spaces, but making sure that our policy reflects that as well. So I'm going to turn it over to the Vice President of the Council, and who always tries to claim the Caribbean crown on the Council because he hails from 2 countries. I'm going to hand it over to Councilor Brian Worrell.
Happy Caribbean Heritage Month, everyone. My name is Brian Worrell, and I'm the District 4 Boston City Councilor. And today is a day that I feel like I can get it right because the Jamaican and Bajan to me always got to choose sides, but today we can celebrate under one flag, right? Under one flag as a Caribbean community. And that's how we got to continue to move and organize as one people. And that's what this month is so special about. We can all come together as Haitians, Barbadians, Jamaicans, talk about what's important to the community and continue to mobilize, organize to fight for more curriculum in schools, the cultural center that we're trying to push for, and that Caribbean liaison that Councilor Mejia, put forward, and I was able to jump on that sponsorship to push forward to make sure that we had that position here in the city of Boston. So I'm encouraged by not only the progress we're continuing to make, but because of the leaders that's in this crowd. The Caribbean Breakfast started by Taisha, right? We have Miss Sonia who constantly pushes for the Caribbean community. Andrew Sharp, Robert, Kwame, so many leaders, the Johnson brothers, so many leaders that make sure that the innocent, so many Caribbean leaders in here today that make sure that our culture continues to be vibrant and that the city's doing right by our community. Thank you. And next, I want to bring up our at-large city councilor, Councilor Mejia.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Listen, really quick. I always say this everywhere that I go, right? That the only difference when they abducted our ancestors is the port that they dropped us off at, right? So when we think about Caribbeans and we think about us as a unity, we have to recognize that we are stronger when we're fighting together. And that's right? Representing the Caribbean community as the first Afro-Latina, as the first Afro-Caribbean Latina born in the Dominican Republic, raised here in the city of Boston. I represent you all with great pride because I understand how important it is to not just open up the door, but making sure that we leave it open to ensure that we are not the only ones in here, okay? And I'm really incredibly grateful to my colleagues who last year when we fought to establish the office, initially, and I want to give a shout out to Danielle. Danielle, I know you're around here somewhere, but we hosted a hearing to first start off with the Office of Latino and Caribbean Affairs. And through that work, we organized and we came to realize that we needed more than just that. Through that work, now we have 5 cultural positions available, 5 cultural liaisons, and 1 executive director dedicated to making sure that the issues, the policies, and the programs represent the issues and the people that we're here to fight for. So happy Caribbean Day, all day, every day. Thank you. And I'm going to call up Councilor Durkin.
I'm so happy to be here celebrating the Caribbean community. And I just, as someone who moved here from a place with a lot of Caribbeans, Atlanta, Georgia, I can tell you throughout my life, I've really enjoyed getting to know the Caribbean community, getting to know your culture, getting to eat your food, getting to see over every place that I've lived, just the incredible dedication that the Caribbean immigrant community brings to every place and every space that you touch. And so I'm really honored to be here. Thank you for everything that you do for our communities. Thank you for opening your small businesses. Thank you for showing us the world in Boston. I'm really grateful to have a lot of friends in city government and great Caribbean friends who work in city government. government alongside us. So I want to give a moment to thank them for their leadership. And as we celebrate this month, I look forward to a lot of great community events, and I'm really grateful to all of my colleagues who represent where they're from and represent their communities on the City Council alongside me. And as someone who represents the West End, Beacon Hill, Back Bay, Fenway, and Mission Hill, I hope to see some events in my neighborhoods, and look forward to patronizing Caribbean businesses this month, and grateful again for your leadership. Next, we'll hear from Councillor Tanya Fernandez-Anderson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanya Fernandez-Anderson, District 7 City Councilor. So happy to be here with you. So many familiar faces that I've either worked with in the past or just my friends, people near and dear to my heart. I guess I want to share with you my experience with the community here. When I first got here, I was just 10 years old, and as you know, leaving West Africa is paradise. And I felt like I was leaving paradise behind. But when I got here, to find a group of people that was almost identical to my own in West Africa, Cape Verde, and understanding that here you made it paradise for me, and I thank you. I humbly stand here with you and share my sisterhood with you and say thank you for your contributions beyond the culture and the arts and the food and the dancing. And by the way, since we're on the dancing topic, if you didn't see me at Suave or any of the Kiddie Carnival, by the way, I have to save my hip for the 24th. I will be on Warren, out dancing, out pacing, our council president, Louis Jean. So, you know, just so you guys understand.
Had enough time.
All right,
fine.
fine.
All right, okay, all right.
Kind of carried away.
To my Caribbean people, I love you. You deserve everything. You deserve your heart's desire, but everything good that God has for you. And I will continue to advocate and work hard as possible, God willing, for you. I love you. Happy Caribbean Heritage Month.
Call up State Representative Sam Montano. Councilor Ben Weber. Also shout out to St. Lucia, my staffer from St. Lucia. There you go. St. Lucia.
Okay, hi, my name is Ben Weber. I'm the District 6 City Councilor. I represent Jamaica Plain and West Roxbury and the back of Mission Hill. I grew up playing soccer and running the 400 meters, so I just wished I was Caribbean my whole life. So, you know, I'm looking forward to, you know, the next World Cup. I'm sure we're going to have one or two countries from the Caribbean, Trinidad, Jamaica, let's go. So, you know, it's a city of immigrants, and, you know, obviously the Caribbean community has made an enormous contribution to our lives here in Boston, our lives in America, and a contribution to the whole world. So I just want to thank everyone here for their contributions. So now I'm just going to hand it off to my state rep, Sam Montano.
Hi, everyone. I represent Jamaica Plain, and I'm really honored and glad to be here with you all, and especially to see this beautiful flag go up. I'm incredibly grateful to be able to support the Caribbean community in any possible capacity. My family comes from Mexico, and so we're not, you know, Caribbean, but we're in a warm climate, unlike here. But I would like to let you all hear from someone who is Caribbean, though, and that's State Representative Christopher Worrell of the 5th Suffolk.
Good afternoon, everyone. Christopher Worrell, State Representative of the 5th Suffolk District. I represent Dorchester and Roxbury, but most importantly, I represent where my dad comes from, Barbados, where my mom comes from, Jamaica, and I married a Trinidadian and a St. Kittian. So when we raise this flag, my kids love this time because they get all the education from all across the Caribbean community. And I love the Caribbean community because we have, you know, from the best patties in the Caribbean, Jamaica. Don't do that. Don't try that. I didn't bother anyone when they were up here. From the best patties, Jamaica, from roti and flying fish and cuckoo. I love the Caribbean. Thank you.
I think that calls for a patty show-off. Just saying. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexandra Valdez, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be appointed by our amazing mayor as the Executive Director of the Office of Cultural Affairs. And it's something I was listening to everyone speak, and I was listening to the mayor speak and Chief Irish, and it reminded me, in thinking back of how I started a lot of this work, I began as an intern working in City Council when I was 17, 18 years old. And I look back to where I am today, and I look back to the different chances of where I've been in the city, and I'm so thankful for every single people and every single person who has given me the opportunity to be here. But better yet, the community that's sitting here, the people that have been advocating for our communities, but most of all the amazing work that we do to uplift every single one of you every single day. Before I continue, I want to give a shout out to our current advisors who are here, Gladys, Kevin, too, and others. Please raise your hand. Where's Michelle? Every person who I've seen has raised their hand represents a community in our city, but most of all represents us with honor and pride, and make sure that they are advocating every single day to make sure that through policy, through events, through programming, but most of all through showcasing that we are a city of belonging, and the city of Boston is a city that is not just welcoming, but a city that we call home. If everything that comes over, my office is open. We are open. Please come and visit us upstairs on the 9th floor at 966. But most of all, what an honor to serve under an amazing administration that not only represents our city, but assures that we are creating a city of belonging and a city that we call home. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex. Great job. So it sounds like we have a dance-off coming, and we have like a patty competition. Earlier there was a conversation about which island got the prettiest flag. So, but okay. But the beauty of it is that these are all fun and games. But I really love to see how we come together, and I see so many islands here represented. I see folks here from the Virgin Islands, from Barbados, from Montserrat, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, St. Lucia. Someone said earlier to me, who's representing St. Lucia? So everybody's represented today. And I also want to just give a special shout out to Mr. Gary Kerr for having a show here recently with Kessa and the band on City Hall Plaza. If you don't know soca music, that is huge. So give yourself a round of applause. So I know y'all can't wait to see the flag go up and also to taste the wonderful food that we have inside waiting for you. So we have a special keynote speaker that I'd like to bring up, and I'm not going to read the entire bio because we'd be here for a very, very long time. But I'd like to bring up Dr. Ulrich Johnson, who we're proud to be a colleague of his in city government. He's an African Trinbagonian from Trinidad and Tobago. Presently lives in Dorchester. He's a community organizer. Among many other things, he's a published author. And as I said, I can go on and on, so I'm going to stop there and welcome to the stage Dr. Ulrich Johnson.
Wow. I'm just going to get right into it because one of my hobbies is eating Caribbean food, and we need to get that done immediately. So I would say to Mayor Wu, thank you for taking the time to really acknowledge Caribbean American heritage people. And I don't think I'm here. I took the day off. My capacity, I'm the assistant director for the City of Boston Employee Assistance Program, and we see over 28,000 employees, a lot of them from the Caribbean. And and go through a lot of issues as Caribbean people. So to take time to recognize us and our contribution is huge. City Council members, government officials, distinguished guests, fellow Caribbean family, and Bostonians. It is indeed an honor and privilege to be selected as a speaker for today's Boston celebration of Caribbean Heritage Month. The Oxford English Dictionary defines heritage as culture, as inheritance relating to things or historical or cultural values that are worthy of preserving. I define the heritage as the 5 C's of identity, a model I developed when I first came to this country. It speaks about color, class, character, and context. This is based on an awareness and transformation that I had to go through when I came to the United States as an immigrant, as a person of Caribbean heritage. The 5 C's of identity of awareness: color, class, character, and context, and the 5 C's of transformational change: confidence, courage, commitment, and conflict and community. In the 10 C's model, each represent literally but symbolically a variety of concepts under each theme. Let me introduce my 5 C's. I'm a black male African Trinbagonian from the island of Trinidad and Tobago, grandson of a woman who had 16 children, 15 girls and 1 boy, who transitioned to the ancestral world at age 103. I'm the son of a woman who had 11 children, 8 boys and 3 girls, and she transitioned into the ancestral world at 93. It is very important for me to mention also that I'm an identical twin, because I'm sick and tired of everyone coming up to me and I'm Eric. He is also a psychologist, and even some of his patients come up to me. He's identical, he looks like me, he even calls me Eric, okay? I got that out of the way. I am married to a woman who's also from Trinidad and Tobago, the father of 2 beautiful children, and a grandfather of a beautiful young woman. In fact, she called me grandpa. Grandfathers are cool, but grandpas, you know what I'm saying? The many identities with which I describe myself are all part of my 10 C's. Each gives information about who I am, my life history, different experiences, how I perceive myself and others perceive me in this country and the world. They tell part of the story of my life, yet no words or labels can actually capture the totality of who we truly are. The 10 C's is an attempt to bring together as many parts as possible, just as this flag. Each of the 10 C's are interrelated. None can stand alone, and none develop in isolation from the rest. This is the same for the 10 C's of Caribbean heritage people. It tells the part of the story of people who come from part of the world we call the Caribbean, which are a stretch of islands from the Caribbean Sea. Islands like Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, some of them that you mentioned. The region takes its name from the indigenous Carib Indians. Indigenous Carib Indians, that's the word Caribbean. When Christopher Columbus encountered them, not discovered them. That's a difference, okay? Very important. The native population of the Caribbean is estimated, of the Caribs in the Caribbean, was estimated to be 750,000 before Europeans contacted them. Then they got wiped out. It is important to acknowledge that most of the people in the Caribbean are of African ancestry and descendants of enslaved Africans. Is key. That's part of the C's. That really informs who we are and what we do and how we relate to each other. The National Caribbean Heritage Month is a time of celebrating the C's of Caribbean people, our vibrant culture, rich history, remarkable contributions that was mentioned to the United States and Boston. As we gather here today, we honor the resiliency the creativity, unwavering spirit of those who have gone before us and who have shaped and continue to shape this country. Trailblazers like Malcolm X, who came from Grenadian heritage, who was also influenced by Jamaican Marcus Garvey, values of pride and self-resiliency. Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman elected to the U.S. Congress, who had Guyanese father and a Barbadian mother. Ivanhoe Donaldson, born in Trinidad and Tobago, was a key figure in the Student Nonviolent Coordination, SNCC, and worked alongside Stokely Carmichael, who's also from Trinidad and Tobago, and other activists from the Caribbean, Harry Belafonte, a lot of other people. With Caribbean heritage, these individuals contribute to the significance to the fight for civil rights and social justice in the United States. Their dedication and courage continue to inspire generations. They made the trail for the present-day trailblazers such as Rihanna from Barbados, Nicki Minaj from Trinidad and Tobago, Cecily Bouvaz, born in Haiti, Denzel Washington, who's also believed to have Barbadian parents, and the list goes on. They have, through music and acting, play a huge a part in the entertainment industry, not only here in Boston, but across the United States. But let us not forget, and I think of my mom, who came to this country, recognize the folks who do not get recognized, the cooks, the librarians, the babysitters, the janitors, the school bus drivers, the police officers, the MITs. These are Caribbean people. I work with Caribbean people who were lawyers in Trinidad and end up being janitors here. Okay? I work with doctors. I was the dean at Springfield College, and I had one doctor from Puerto Rico came with a medical degree, and it was not recognized. Okay? So these Caribbeans who come here with that cultural love and that dedication to hard work to serve the people here in Boston. My mother said once, there's some people who work to live and some people who live to work. Caribbean American heritage people live to work, and they love work. The Caribbean is a mosaic of diverse culture, language, and tradition, from the rhythm beats of reggae, Jamaica, calypso, and soca from Trinidad and Tobago, and the Carnival Carnival of Trinidad and Tobago and other islands in the Caribbean. And yes, I have seen some of these city council people on the road misbehaving. But that's part of Carnival. It's Bacchanal, and you must behave. So all right. Like the invention of the steel pan that you're seeing over there by enslaved Africans on the islands of Trinidad and Tobago, made out of discarded barrels that were used as trash cans. The steel pan was invented in response to the slave master banning us from using the djembe and other music that we used to celebrate and use in spiritual rituals. But we said no, we have to come up with something. So we took trash can and make the steel pan the only acoustical instrument invented in the 20th century. That's the creativity of Trinidadians. You will see me beating the iron. The iron is actually the hub, the brake hub of a car. The cow bell, as you know, is the bell that used to be around the cow, so we could know where the cow was located. We took things and make other things out of it. That's Caribbean heritage. Caribbean Americans have overcome immense challenges in their strive to the United States. Many arrive seeking better opportunities, leaving behind their homeland to pursue American dream. I personally remember at the age of 11, waiting in line with my mom early in the morning outside the U.S. Embassy back home in Trinidad. Waiting in line all day in the hot sun with documents in hand, x-rays, medical records, police stuff. You have to hold all of that in hand in chance to go to get an interview to come to the United States. The land of opportunity, that was supposed to be paved with gold, not knowing they wanted me to pave it in gold. The land that promised the lifestyle of, I'm dating myself, of Leave It to Beaver, Bonanza, beautiful snowflakes. It looked beautiful on the postcard, but the damn thing is cold, okay? But like most Caribbean heritage people, We were met with racism, discrimination, economic hardship, and cultural adjustment. Yet we preserved building businesses, excellent in academia, sports, contributing to every facet of American life, in spite of those things. As we celebrate National Caribbean Heritage Month, let us embrace the diversity that enrich this country. Let us learn from the resiliency of Caribbean Americans who remind us that unity and understanding can overcome diversity. Whether through food, music, storytelling, let us honor the legacy and continue to build bridges across our culture. Let us respect each other's 5 C's from a place of love. As a professor, I always ask my students, they need to define what they're talking about. I define love as a verb, not a noun. The L means that we need to listen to each other. The O means that we need to open our hearts to each other. The V means that we need to be vulnerable. We need to take the chance of making mistakes, of being hurt. But if you are afraid to share your emotions because you're going to offend somebody, you're not going to say, I'm a marriage therapist. And I had couples come to my office and say they never fight. Before you leave my office, you're going to be fighting. Because you're holding back information. You're not being vulnerable to your partner in fear of offending, right? That's not love. Then the E, when you're vulnerable, it makes you open to empathize, not sympathize. Be more empathetic with each other as individuals and groups. We must start with an inventory of ourselves, examine our experience to more effectively confront the issues of personal and social oppression. This self-inventory are essential to the first step in longer journey towards social change. By recognizing our experience as oppressors and oppressed, and by emphasizing the experience of one another, we move towards social justice. In closing, let us express gratitude to the contribution of Caribbean Americans, not only in June, but throughout the year. May their stories inspire us to create more inclusive, compassionate, and a harmonious Boston. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Give it up again for Dr. Ulrich Johnson. We're so happy to have him. So now we're going to move right into raising the flag. I'd like to ask the mayor and the elected officials to help us raise the flag. And then I'm asking you all to join us inside afterwards for some wonderful food that's been prepared. And while the flag is being raised, I'll tell you who made the food while the flag's being raised, as well as read the proclamation.
This way or this way?
Backwards. To you, right?
Yeah, two towards you.
So, Alex, the food is from where?
We have 2 places. Merle's Kitchen.
We have food from Merle's Kitchen.
And then we also have the coal pot.
And from the coal pot.
And nice.
So whereas Caribbean Heritage Month is celebrated annually in the United States during the month of June, this month was established to recognize and celebrate the contributions of Caribbean immigrants and their descendants to this country, culture and achievements of the United States, and promote cultural understanding and appreciation. And whereas Caribbean Americans have made our community more innovative, more prosperous, they have enriched our arts and culture, our public institutions, our economy. And whereas the Caribbean community contributes greatly to the rich history and diversity of the city of Boston, established and distinguished itself through efforts of many organizations, business, and community participation. And whereas many Caribbeans are on the front lines as nurses, doctors, elected officials, restaurant workers, bus drivers, cab drivers, police officers, firefighters, emergency workers who put their lives on the line every day to protect all residents of Boston. And whereas during Caribbean American Heritage Month, we celebrate the legacy and impact of Caribbean Americans who enrich our neighborhoods every day. Now, therefore, on behalf of Michelle Wu, Mayor of the City of Boston, do proclaim the month of June 2024 to be Caribbean American Heritage Month in the City of Boston. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Mr. Joe Johnson, our DJ Jammin' Joe Johnson. I'd like to give a special thanks to the Tempo Rhythm and Steel section for the musical performance earlier. And for everyone who was on the planning committee, too many names to mention.
Danielle Johnson, the radio.
Danielle Johnson for Spark FM for keeping the community entertained and informed. Thanks everyone for coming out. Please join us inside for some food and refreshments.